And good afternoon, Mikey here from the Crochet Crowd, obviously, and I am working on the next stitch along. It's a Sunday morning. I've been cleaning the house for a few hours here, and I really kind of wanted the day off, but then I kind of feel guilty because I need to get a stitch along done. So I'm currently working on the study of reality and working through the steps to be able to complete the stitch along. And I'm currently week number 1 and 2 are completed in diagram format, and then I need to do week number 3 and 4. So 3 and 4, there's a lot of repeating in the particular blanket. So I am just going to. So I was updating it this morning. Let me just pull it out on my screen here. Week number 3 is 17 and 18. So I'm just going to print this out. So 17 and 18. So for those that are Journey members, you already have access to this document on our private communications tab on the community tab. So anyway, so I got to work on this. So I've currently done the second sample so far. And so I got Carol, and you're here, and Linda, Orit, and Journey Travelers. So I think I printed the wrong page. So I'm currently just finished week number 3 of the second sample. So I just did some final tweaking this morning to make sure that it's okay. So number 17 is what I want. Number 17. So things that I was adding to the pattern this morning is that it's like the number of V stitches or combinations that are coming across. So I didn't have those originally. I just had a stitch count. And after watching what was happening with this Inspired by Grace, when you have a certain stitch combination, it's easier if somebody can identify if there's groups of stitches all together that they can just count those. So that's kind of, you learn every day, right? So we're going to continue our little journey. So we have already filmed. Well, I haven't filmed anything. I'm just getting my stuff ready and getting this thing to go. And so we have all of our stuff so that it's in document format that you'll see. So I wanted to make sure that when I did this one, it wasn't going to be too crazy. So this is number 9, 10, 11. So this will be week number 2. So I'm going to just kind of work here off camera and just move stuff around. You can see that I was designing before, and I had other things on the screen that I just didn't use because the blanket wasn't sitting flat. So I had a crocheter. Notice behind me on the chair was a sample that I had done that was originally going to be the summer stitch along, but the sample does not sit flat, so the sample is garbage. So so I can just finish this off, just donate it out, as a little thrower or something, a little thing or a little decor item, but it's pretty much garbage at this point because it won't sit flat. So my problem is I design on my lap, and then I do several rounds, and then I put it on the floor and realize it's screwed up. So I will continue to work on that today. So we're going to unlock the guides, make sure all the layers are open. So we're going to get the stuff out of the way. So the guides are something that you don't see yourself when you're looking at my stuff. They're kind of hidden in the background. So they don't ever show up on the public side. So we use the guides to be able to determine different things. So the guides, what happens with these guides is that they stay kind of like hidden mode all the time. So I'm just moving stuff around so that I can get it out of the way so that my canvas can be done. So week number 2 had it converting to a square, which is something I had never done before. in the way that I did it. So that was new for me. So we're going to move week number 2 down, and this is week number 2 as well. And we're going to also take week number 2 and make this into week number 3. So we're going to just grab a duplicate of it and just take it up and see where we go with it. Okay, so we have week 1 converting to week 2, 2, and 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves started. So in week number 3, there's a ton of rounds. So I kind of learned a hard lesson in the Inspired by Grace is that I kind of was going there. So Michael from MDL Crochet is here online with us at this time. He was a host that I filmed while he was hosting actually in Christmas. Fun guy. And anyway, we were talking about doing a little retreat for just crochet hosts. So I think I still want to have that happen, but we'll have to see what the interest level is and actually have the ambition enough to do it. I think that'd be kind of fun. And I was thinking probably Vegas, because it's easier to get to. So anyway, so that's kind of something that's crossing my mind, Michael. Just saying. Yeah, of course that would be fun. So they all say yes in the beginning, and then until it doesn't. It's kind of like when people sign up for the retreats and stuff. Okay, so the last row, number 10, is right there. So we're going to keep number 10. So this could be number 10. So let's make sure it's an odd number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I have to make sure it's divisible by 3, which that one's not. So I need 2 more of that to make that happen. Okay, so what if I got rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if I got rid of 2, that would take it to 9. Okay, so we're going to get rid of, so we're going to relog the guides before I go any further. So Teresa says, go to Vegas, it'll be fun. I thought it might be kind of fun for the crochet host to be able to talk and to share information and stuff like that. Actually, Daniel was commenting. It was actually Daniel's idea a few years back, but I said, I don't think anybody would go to that. Because behind the scenes, it can be really aggressively competitive. Like, really aggressive. So I've been staying in my own little bubble for all these years. So, okay, so we're going to just move. We're going to make this as the new number 10. And whenever we start a brand new diagram, the first row is always great because it has to represent where we've come from. So we need to do one side. So we know this distance is right. So I'm just, what I think I might just do is just take this whole thingamabob and just move it down on a 45-degree angle and see where it lands. So I've got to eliminate out 2 stitches somewhere right about there. So these 2 just came out. And then we're going to move these guys out. So somebody's heading to Vegas. So Wendy, most of you probably know my assistant Wendy. It is pretty competitive. It actually is kind of shocking. When I first started this industry, one of the major hosts at the time gave me some advice that was complete bullshit. And anyway, so I was like, oh, I'm never going to do it that way. It turns out that what the advice she was telling me not to do is what I should have did. And I'm like, anyway, but it took me a while to learn that. So aggressively competitive. So anyway, it taught me to stay in my own little bubble and to not interact with very many people over my career. Okay, so this is number 10. I'm just taking a look at the pattern real quick. Number 10 was that 10 was with a standing single crochet. Okay, so we'll go back to number 11. The other thing that I decided to do, which I've been struggling with as well, and I can show you something I decided to do. It goes against the rules of crochet, but I don't care. And anyway, so on the bottom of your screen, I've been noticing that page number 2, so far this pattern I think is 20 something pages. Anyway, I decided to put the color breakdown at the base of each of the footer so that you see A is equal, B equals C, so you don't have to flip back to page number 2 because it's been a pain in my ass. So anyway, so if you see something broken, fix it, right? Yeah. So okay, so Vegas. So I've been to Vegas 3 times. I have no interest in going to Vegas as a holiday. It's one of my, I've been there, done that. So my wife and I went when I was obviously much younger, and it was really magical. And then my first partner and I, we went. He surprised me with a holiday. We stayed at the Luxor. So my wife and I stayed at the Bally's, and that was a lot of fun. And she really loved Caesar's Palace for the shopping. And then my first partner surprised me. We stayed in Luxor, the pyramid, and then that was fun. And then Daniel and I went to a conference in Vegas, and I really wanted to stay at the Venetian, which we did. And oh, what a joke that was! So it was pretty bad, and it was bad because the smoking was all throughout the hotel, including our room. And Daniel is asthmatic, so it was like my dream to go there was completely ruined there. So anyway, so it's not for everybody. And I also felt unsafe on the streets with the amount of people approaching us as well. So that might be a Canadian thing. I don't know. So we're gonna make this as row number 10, and let's just get this onto row number 10. So I am going to move that. This goes out. And we're gonna rotate that guy around. Okay, so everything is working in a circle. And before I did that, I should have put it on row number 10. So this is number 10. This is the number 10. Okay, I'm going to put this as week 3, number 10. 10, week 3. So the layers help me to be able to determine what I'm going to do with these in the future. So yeah, somebody says they used to work at the Golden Nugget. I lived in Vegas for 45 years. So where would be a dream bucket list of where you would want to go? And I'll leave you with that. You could let me know in the comments. So where would you go? I already have where I want to go, but the place I want to go is too dangerous to go, so I don't go. Okay, so we're going to get rid of everything else that is not row number 10. And we're going to build out, and then we're going to move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 stitches. I'm just going to leave the number 9 there. We're going to make this guy smaller. Everything is about math with these things. Okay, so Japan, that's on Daniel's list. What else do we got? Australia, yes. Don't do a cruise in Australia, though. That was my mistake. I felt like I never saw Australia because I was on a cruise. But that's just my opinion. You do what you need to do. Okay, and I'm going to move the slip stitching in and some extra numbers in. And we'll move this guy in and this guy in. So Cabo, a sunny beach somewhere. Cabo, New Zealand was beautiful. I wish that I saw New Zealand on land and not on a cruise ship. That was one of those things. Switzerland and Germany. If you go to Switzerland, bring your money. Holy cow. Hamburger and fries is $75. Their cost of living in Switzerland is so good that our money is like play money, including US money. Yeah. So, Michael, are you up to trouble again? Absolutely. I totally am. We're going to get rid of that guide, unlock guides. Unlock the guide. So the software, Wendy, my assistant, just answered you on the, it is Adobe Illustrator. So Matt, what I have is I have a program. So I've been drawing all the symbols over the years, and then I just copy them in when I need them. So we're going to do a big cross stitch for round number 11. So we're going to need that stitch. So we're going to just see where it is. So I've drawn it before, I am sure. And if not, we draw it again and then we leave it on the document. And I don't think I see it. So I know it's a combination of 3 stitches. So I'm going to make it then. So we're going to grab these 3 and we'll make it, and then we'll bring it back to this document later. So we need to get the height of the stitch, and it starts the second one in, and then we're going to do the guide and to make the guide bigger, and then we can determine where the corner is going to be. And I'm also going to grab a chain 1 because I'm going to need to make that chain 1 that causes that to happen. There it is. I think I'm getting too foolish with the shifting of my mouse. Here we go. We'll just grab a chain 1 and take it with us. And we'll plop that in somewhere and we'll figure it out. So we have to make this into a cross stitch, and I usually cross always with the second one being behind. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this guy. Wait a minute, a big cross stitch. One. So we're gonna go cross stitch here. And that's the one coming back. So what I want to do is I want to make the leg of that gray to represent that it's behind. And then this guy's going to stay black. And we're going to move him forward. Move him up. Okay, this guy in the middle comes out. And then this guy goes in. And then we're going to make this as a group. ungroup, and then we'll put it back here on the document because then I don't have to draw it ever again. I'll leave it here. I'm going to get rid of this guy. We'll save and gone. Okay, so we got that. So my problem is that I don't know where, so we'll just grab these guys. I don't know if the stitches are lined up on top of each other properly, so we'll figure that out in just a few minutes. So we need to, so here's my spacing, and the line that's going down represents where the first stitch should land and where the last stitch should land. And I know that we have 2 double crochets that are part of this, so we'll grab some double crochet while we're here. And we're going to, so if there was 10 stitches in the last 10, this time there's going to be 11, 12. There's going to be 13 minus 2 for the path. 13, so there's going to be 11 steps. And Control Alt B. So those are the spacing. So I'm checking to see where the spacing. So this one is going to be out of sequence. So what I need to do is that I need to see how they don't line up. So I'm going to have to stretch this guy over here. We'll do that, and then we need to move him. So when I first started doing these diagrams, I was kind of lazy and not doing what I'm doing right now, and because of that, the diagrams always looked weird, and they never line up. So what I have to do is I have to blow this diagram apart. That has to be gray. Okay. And the gray, this has to be in behind. So we're going to change the order, transform, arrange, send to the back. Bring to the front. So the black has to be in front of it. Okay, so now what we have to do is that we have to be able to align these guys up. So I'm not sure I can do what I'm about to do. Okay, so the bases are messed up. So the diagrams are made like when you see them in magazines and stuff, and Yarn Inspirations, this is how they're made. So we're going to ungroup all of this, and we're going to shift him out to here. And then we're going to shift up to there. And I believe I can do what I'm about to do, ungroup. So there's going to be one specified step. So we're going to do this one and blend. There's going to be only one step. Control B. There we go, got it. So the circle didn't go properly, but that's okay. We just get rid of it. Okay, good, got it. So the only thing we have left to do, so we have to take this guy out. And we just have to line these guys up just ever so slightly. So I like working on this stuff. It's hard on my hands though. Just the pushing of the keys and the refining of the mouse. It's been quite a challenge. And the other problem with crochet diagrams is that because there's an angle on there, you can't just flip it, because then the angle on the cross beam is backwards. I don't know if anybody ever really notices that though. But anyway, if they do, I'm doing it right anyway. So we're going to make this as week number, this is number 11. So this is week, no, so we'll do 11, week 3. And we'll move it up with there. And so this will be number, so this will be week number 11. Okay, and now it's time to throw this around the corner. So I really don't know if anybody cares about this stuff, but it gives perspective on how much work gets involved. Karen actually bought a pattern online yesterday, and she goes, "Oh my God, there's crochet diagrams." And I said, "You are so lucky." And they were good diagrams too. They weren't shitty. So that's week number 11. Or that's round number 11. So I don't worry about putting in the starting and stopping this until the end of the section is done. So my goal is not to let the diagram get so big that it's not legible on the thing, or on the concept, or like on the paper. Okay, so number 11's done. Just write that down on my paper. Number 12 is single crochet. So every other row, it's either blue or it's black. So I started with black, so this one's going to be blue. Usually the starting instruction is always black, generally speaking. I don't know if that's a rule, but it kind of is. And so we're going to make this guy blue. And so that's why there's two different corners. One's blue and one's black. And so I don't know how big to make that. So we'll figure that out in a second. So we'll make this bigger to the height of the stitch. And then we'll move it in position. So I just need the other one here, because I need to know exactly where the last stitch ends on the other side. And so the last row had 13 stitches, if you recall. So I'm going to put the number 13. So 10, 11, 12, 13. So this next one, it's only going to be increasing by 2. So we will create that blend. So 13, so that means 13. Yeah. So these will all be single crochet going in. So I just want to take one guy and put it over here. And one guy over here. Actually, what I'm going to do, no, I can't do that. I can't change that. Okay, so if I do a blend tool, I cannot change the shape. So what I need to do is to create a sample ones that I can copy over, which will be this one right here. And then these 3. Okay, so these 3 are the same distance of these 3 over here, so I'll just take them over. Okay, and so I got to adjust this one right here. So we're going to make this into a threesome, a throuple. So I was working on my miniature yesterday, but I'm kind of mentally stuck on it. So just making me angry. So I thought I'd just work on this shit today because I know I can actually do it and be successful. I'm wondering if this would look better if it's just off to the side a little bit. Still means the same thing. It's just off to there. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so we only need 3 more of those. So we're going to group these guys together, put them together, and move them. Done. Okay, done. So we're going to get rid of this guy, and this will be week 3 or 12 week 3. And let's put this on to week 3. Or number 12. And now we're going to throw these around the center. Okay, copy. And so this now became 15 stitches. And I'm only put this number will not be visible to the consumer when they see it. It's just for my own, for getting the stitch counts to be right. Okay, so now that was number 12. And the row counts are usually black, so we'll change that back to black. It's only gray here because that row is already done and you needed that in order to carry on with this particular diagram. So this is number 12. I feel like it's a little too big. We'll move this back to 10. Okay, and now we're going to get rid of these guys out. And so the next one is another big V stitch, a cross stitch. Okay, so we've already got the cross stitch from before that we did. So we're just going to grab it over here. Actually, I noticed that the cross beam was not gray when I did it before. So we'll gray that guy out before we start massive copying it. Okay, so we're going to take this guy and we're going to bring it here. And we're going to create a new row. This is going to be 13, week 3. And now this guy's black. We're going to grab the black one. And then the other black one. So Christine is working on her study of determination. Are you determined? Was the miniature, what is the miniature you were working on yesterday? I was working on the little tea house. I'm stuck on the signage. I can't seem to figure out what I want for a sign, and because of that, I'm driving myself and Daniel nuts. Like nuts. Like not in a good kind of nuts either. Like nasty nuts. Okay, so I have 15, so there will be 2, so it's 16, 17, 18, 19. So object 19 minus 2 brings you back to 17. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to concentrate there. Grab some more double crochets. So this row will be black. So Christine is my friend. I met her in Reno a couple years back and we had lunch together. We got lost all over the Incline Village in Lake Tahoe. Anyway, we had a nice lunch together. I think it was a nasty lunch too, remember? I think it was just like a big ass donut with a pop or something. It was the best lunch ever. So anyway, she got to share her story with me. She's quite inspirational. I love this center. Oh, the center is, yeah. So the center is actually the community blanket for this year's crochet cruise. Okay, so we're going to stretch this guy out to match there. Bring it down. So we're going to ungroup this guy. Forgot to take it over here too. do that. These crisscrosses can be quite challenging. Sweets and pop. That sounds like a great lunch to me. So we still have not got a location for Jimmy Bean's retreat for this year yet. The hotel that we were in last year, there's no space available. So anyway, they're looking at options, and if there are no options, we'll just cancel it for this year. But we haven't got there yet to say that we're going to cancel. Okay. Okay, so how many steps is there? There's going to be 1, 2, 3 steps. So I'm going to take this guy and this guy and say there's 3 steps. Okay, and then we're going to take this guy and this guy and say there's 3 steps. Oops. And that will conclude that round. It's number 13. So we're going to move 13, everything into 13. District 13 from Hunger Games. Actually, I feel like watching that series again. I don't know why. Must be internal rage or something. So Krista says, give me the 3 steps. Give me 3 steps to miss. Give me 3 steps towards the door. What song is that from, Krista? I assume that's a song because you got music notes. Okay, we're going to rotate this bad boy around. So 360 degrees divided by 4 pieces of pie. Okay, that was round number 13. Okay, this is 14, week 3. I'm going to get rid of this guy out. And so week 13 was cross stitches. There was 25 cross stitches in that one. 14 is the same as this guy. So we'll get some single crochets back up. And these guys have to be blue. We'll grab the blue boys out. So Rock Band sang Sweet Home Alabama. Okay, so how many rows? So this was 15. So this was 17, 18. This was 19 stitches across on this sample. So the next one has to be 21. 21 minus 2 is back to 19. 19. So when you see stuff just magically appear, it's short keys on the keyboard. That's what's hurting my hands. Okay, so we're going to make a duplicate of what we see here. So we're just going to, I'm just going to take it with me and see what we do with that, because it could be the same. It's just slightly different. Okay, we'll grab 2 of those. So this guy's just slightly off. Just going to lean it just a little bit over, and then we'll take those guys over and we'll put them on the other side. Just grab these guys first. Okay, and then we have this guy here. This should be, it's close, but it's not. Yeah, it's close. It's right on. Okay, so there's 3 steps in there. So we'll take this guy and we'll make it 3 steps. Does anyone have any Canada where I can get Aunt Lydia's fashion thread in red? For some reason, I can't get it ordered here. Is it that popular? It is, and I believe Walmart. Sorry, not Walmart. I believe that's a Michael's thing. I saw it at Michael's. I've actually bought it at Michael's, so I think that's Michael's. Okay, so that was that row done. I just placed a huge order with the inspirations, like huge. It's a sickness, I tell you. So the sale is going to be ending this week at some point. Like that 70% off sale. So you got to make sure you get in on it if you need it yarn. It's not all the colors are 70%, like up to that, but some of them are. Okay, that was. I forgot to put it on the same round. That's week number 14. Or number 14. That little stupid little center point is really hard to get, like to get right onto it. I almost think that's a fault of the system that doesn't click to it. Or if it does, I don't know about it. But I took a course in this with Edie Ekman, and it's not a possibility to click to it at the time. Are you going to do an unboxing video? I don't know. Should I? I ordered. Does it make me look selfish if I open that up in front of everybody and say, look what I got? Okay, so there it is, 21 stitches. Number 15, week 3. That's another cross stitch. Does Yarn Inspiration sell Aunt Lydia's? I never looked. Aunt Lydia's is made by Yarn Inspiration, so yes. Aunt Lydia's is Coates and Clark. And I don't even know if there really is an Aunt Lydia. It's like Susan Bates, I don't think is a real person. I don't know if I ever told you the time I made an ass of myself for allfreecrochet.com. So anyway, I go to their office, and apparently a name of a woman is basically, I don't even remember what her name was. But anyway, it was so-and-so's picks of the week. And so people became to trust this lady. And so when I was in their office, I said, who in the hell is this lady anyway? And anyway, so the woman that I had been dealing with all the time is not even the same name. She stands up and she goes, hello, I'm so and so. I'm like, are you serious? You're not even a real person. And so anyway, so people came to trust a lady that doesn't even exist. So 22, 23, 24, 25 minus 2, so back to 23 steps. But I don't think that's uncommon. But I don't know if Susan Bates was a real person. But I think Susan Bates has been longer than the Bates Motel. If you catch my drift on that, I think it's been around a lot longer since that. So I'm gonna need some double crochet back in my life here, because I hear the last name of Bates and I think of the Norman Bates and the Bates Motel. That's how old I am. I don't think I've ever seen that movie though. I just know the shower scene, and I know to look away from it. So I think I know the plot line of that, but I don't really know 100%. So I don't know if he really did have a mother or whether it was a split personality. Does anybody actually know that answer? I'm old enough to remember Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte when I was young. Hush Hush Sweet. Okay, tell me about that one. What is that? So what's the all-time favorite movie that you have? One of my all-time favorites is actually Aaron Brockovich. I have seen that movie more times in my life than I could possibly count. I like the feel-good story. I like that it's woman-driven. Um, I just like that story, even though it's based on a true story. I like that movie. I'm not necessarily. What was the main actor in that? That was Julia something. Um, I'm not necessarily a fan of hers as per se, but like I'm not a celebrity follower by any stretch. So Kathy Bates in the movie Misery, movie with Betty Davis. Betty Davis starred Hush Hush. Julia Roberts. There you go. You can tell I don't follow celebrities. Sorry, I'm concentrating for a second. Yeah. So my news algorithm right now is full of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, well, former Prince Harry. And I don't even know why, because I don't even follow the guys, and I don't even care. Okay, we're going to copy that over. So I'm not a royal watcher, as per se, I guess you can say. Favorite movie was Dirty Dancing. Steel Magnolias I've never seen. I know that country singer is in it. Blonde, big chest. What is her? She has a theme park. She's got a funny sense of humor, and drag queens like dressing like her. What's her name? Jeez. Dolly. Yes, Dolly. That's her. Okay, so we have how many steps this time? Yeah, my favorite is what dreams may come and hearts and souls. I have never heard of either of those two, I don't think. It sounds sappy there, Wendy. Like extra sappy. Well, that didn't work out. Okay, so let's try this again. Got it. What row am I on anyway? I'm on repeat number 11, which is the, okay, this is number 15. Okay, let's make sure this guy's out. She was Weezer. What was I don't know. When I need to cry, I turn either one on. 9 to 5. I have never seen that one either. I know who that's. Lily Tomlin, I think, is in 9 to 5. I like Lily Tomlin. She's quite fun. My first exposure to Lily Tomlin was when I was a kid, and we went to the drive-in, and it was the Incredible Striking Woman. That was my first time I ever recall Lily Tomlin. And so we watched that, and then the major movie of the night was E.T. that night. So both movies were excellent. Okay, okay, that was number 15. 15's out. One stitch in each stitch. Oh, there's a mistake. Let me just go back to the pattern and fix it right now. Number 16. I'm going to leave an extra tip. I'm just leaving a tip in the pattern. I screwed up on round number 15 when I did the sample. Okay, back to you guys. Shirley MacLaine and Steel Magnolias. My still is Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind, wasn't that with Carol Burnett? It was something about she walks down the stairs and she saw it blowing in the wind and she had to have it. Is that Gone with the Wind? I don't know. Okay, so this is going to be number. Okay, this is going to be number 16. 16 week 3. Crochet drops a stitch from the hook. They are careful to get that. Does that really make crochet drops a stitch? They are careful what difference they put the chain back on the hook. Does it make a difference? Crochet drops a stitch from the hook. They are careful what differences they put the chain back on the stitch. I don't know what that means. I'm not following. I'm sorry. And so this is a stitch along that's coming. I don't have a date yet. I want to get this. So I'm currently in testing mode. So I'm making a second sample. So I've just finished week 3 on the second sample of the real thing. So I am working my way through it. Okay, this is back to blue. So where I was screwing up on this round is that I had to put chain one or single crochet in these chain one spaces, but because of the stitch, this makes it look condensed, and because of that, I was missing it, and so I was short stitches because of it. Anyway, I frogged and I frogged and I frogged. Okay, so we had 21 stitch chains, so 23, 24. So this was 25 stitches here. So we know this one is going to be 25. So there's going to be 27 minus 2, which gives you back to 25. So 25 steps. Okay. I'm going to move this one slightly. It's directly over top. It's just off a little way. It's enough to bother me. I'm just going to move the base slightly over top. On an angle. Crocheters probably don't even recognize that this stuff is misaligned. But I will, and it will bother the hell out of me. Okay, so if the last row was to this is that was number 15. This is 16. Oops. So we're going to blend. So 25. So if we knew the last one was 25, so minus another 2 is 23 steps. So that should, oops. Yep. Okay, we're going to move this guy up. In round number 16, I think this is where I'm going to end this diagram in number 16. Goes blue. Have you talked to Daniel out of the idea of a husky? Honestly, if he would, he could, but he's not getting a husky. I'm never going to be able to film anything. The other dogs are already a lot of work as it is. Okay, so that's going to end that row. Okay, so this will then take it to 27. Not that, actually that won't matter, but let me just take a screenshot of this. Okay, this is the end of this one. I am going to have to go through now and make that bigger out. And so I got to put the starts and stops in. Okay, round number 11 was chain 3. So that goes out. This goes in. group it and put that in. And we got to change the color to black to match. And because it's black, we have to do a black slip stitch in. Okay, 8 comes out. Okay, number 12 is a standing single crochet, so we just immediately I wonder, did I do that before? Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't. Yes, I did. Okay. I was just seeing if I did. Actually, if it's a standing single crochet, there is no attaching underneath, so that's wrong. Okay, and number 13 is the same. And that one's the same as the last one. Done. And last one. So number 16 will end that. And what I'm going to do is that I need to do a presentation mode. This is what the customer sees. And I'm going to throw that into the document. And out. That's out. And let me just throw that into the document while I have it here. Number 13. So that finishes number 16. 16. Okay, crochet diagram. Rounds 11 to 16. And throw the diagram in. Okay. And now we're going to move on. So that's it. So that was number 7. So 16. So that is going to be 1. And the reason why I want to cut this up is that it's going to be easier for the customer to read. Okay, so we're going to unlock the guides. How we started, unlock guides. And we're going to take everything with us and place it here. Okay, and then we're going to relock the guides. Lock the guides. Okay, so now we have to so this will now be round number 16. So we're going to get rid of stuff. So we'll take this, we'll put this back here. we'll say this is round number 16. It's going to get complicated from here out. I know that for sure. And we're going to restart again. So we have some more people joining us this afternoon as I'm just sitting here working. And we're moving on to round number 17 next. 17. So 16 is the end. So 17 is a double crochet in each stitch. Actually, you know what? I forgot that. You have to join with the slip stitch to the beginning chain. Okay, so we're going to start and we're going to do a double crochet round. And this will be number 17, week 3. And we'll grab some double crochet over here. And we'll bring this guy back. Okay, I'm just going to mute you for a second, just a quick washroom break, and I'll be right back in a second. Okay, back. Okay, so number 17. Okay, these guys are black. We'll bring the black guy down. So the first row always is black. Second row is always blue. And so if there was 9 here, so there's going to be a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and back to 13. 13 minus 2 is 11. So there's going to be 11 steps. So the problem with the double crochet is that the 2 that start it never really point at a stitch. They just point at a space. Just going to do this. So there's 9. So, and then these guys are kind of like leaning a little bit. So the biggest hang up for me when I learned this stuff is that I would focus too much on the corners and the slip stitching and all that stuff when really that's the last part of the step. You worry about that after it's done. And so because of that, I was always like misaligned. So is anybody doing anything fun other than watching me today? I'm hoping to move on to week number 4 tonight, well, after I'm done this on the real sample, and catch any final mistakes that I have. I did some tweaking this morning because I found some mistakes last night, and I wouldn't say there's mistakes; it's just extra tips that I thought maybe would be quite helpful. Okay, so there's 2, 4, 6, 7 steps. So we'll make this into 7 steps. These charts are so much easier when they're a reduced sample. And we're going to rotate. So this red spot right here is called the registration. It's a registration key, or registration mark of the center point of the collection of the group. Not that anybody cares, but that's what it is. Okay, done. Okay, so there was an additional, let me just make sure. Yep. Okay, so this is now going to be 11, 13 stitches. This was row number 17. And this should be black. Okay. Okay, number 18 is going to be front post, back post, and I got to be very careful with this shit when I do it. So we always start off with the front post. That's just what I do. And I'm going to reduce the height of it. Actually. Okay, and then the next one is a back post, but we'll worry about that in a second. Let's just get the height of that. If the stitches are too high, it really throws these diagrams out of alignment. Okay, so this guy has to be blue. I made sure on this blanket too, we never turned to the back side of the blanket to make it easier. This inspired by Grace, so it was forever flipping around because of the stitch combinations. And tomorrow I got to edit the final week number 5. So anyway, I got quite a few complaints on the said just repeat so steps, but people don't want to go back and look, which I understand. But then it never occurred to me that I could just actually like splice an existing video and put that piece there. Anyway, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think I was thinking anything, honestly. Okay, so this is 2 extended single crochets. So we're going to have 13, 14, 14, 15, 16, 17 minus 2 is 15. So we got 15 spots. So what I've learned over time is that I am going to focus on, the next one is the back post. So I'm just going to grab this guy. So the second one is always the back post. Move that in. So the bottle cap ear warmer, making Chex Mix as well. Drop the phone on the at least the carpet. Somebody says somebody's got to finish their advent calendar. Well, I guess you always got next year. Okay, and then we have an extended. I'll just do that. So we have two extended single crochets, and those are extended right there. So, does everybody know what that is? There's 2 on each side. So an extended single crochet, when you use it, half double crochet people, including myself, tend to get lost in the pattern because the chain 2 of the beginning, especially when it's half double crochet, can be confusing. So an extended single crochet is you wrap and you go into the stitch and you pull through, and then you just wrap the hook and pull through just one stitch or one loop, and then wrap again and pull through the final 2. And what that does is it gives you a perfect stitch so that you never accidentally add a stitch. And I actually think Jeannie found that stitch somewhere. Anyway, it's a perfect way of not screwing up. So these guys just have to point at a space. So the circle at the bottom is just representing that you're pulling it through just one loop instead of 2. So you stop and you just pull through one loop only. And then the second yarn over, you pull through the 2, which is the cross beam. Okay, so we're back here. I'm going to make these guys blue before I go too far. Okay, and then I still need these guys here on this side. And how many steps is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 steps of that. 11. Okay, and then I am just going to, actually, you know what? I think I can just copy both of them. And just take it with me. So by using in squares and stuff, you use odd numbers a lot. And the purpose of using odd numbers is that you can have balance, especially if you have combinations like this of 2. So the last one should be a front post double crochet. And we're going to group these guys up. And we'll throw it around the circle. So I didn't use this stitch very often in this one. And we'll throw it around. So Chris is gone. Have a good one. Enjoy your day. You're probably gone by now. Copy. Okay, that was number 18. Oh, shit. I should make the layer first. 18, week 3. If I ever have to separate a layer and I don't do this, I screw myself so hard. And not in a fun way either. Numbers. $17. Oh, Wendy I just saw a message from Wendy. The mother was actually dead. This is Bates Motel, Psycho. The mother was actually dead and decaying upstairs. Gross. So who was doing the talking? Was it him? Norman. Okay, number 18 done. Number 19. One double crochet. Number 19. Okay, double crochet. Okay, we need the black corner. And black corner. I was about to go to Baby Cakes, but they discontinued it. So Baby Cakes is controlled by Michaels. So when the Karen Cake line is controlled by Michaels. So if they discontinue it, it's a retailer that does that. I don't know if people even know that, but you do now. Okay, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 minus 2 is 19. 19 steps. So a lot of people know about the story of Karen Cakes. So Karen Cakes came into be because Karen yarn had a 100th birthday. So they found this yarn that looks like a birthday cake called what you know as Karen Cakes. And so then Karen Cakes then ends up becoming a thing for 100 years of Karen yarn. So it goes to Michael's as the anniversary yarn or as the birthday yarn. And anyway, this thing caught fire to the point where they couldn't believe it. So anyway, it's one of the very first times where a trend in North America has started before Europe, because usually when the yarn trends, it's in Europe first. So anyway, so it gets really, really super popular like instantly as soon as people saw it on social media. It's like, what the hell is that? Because it was so brand new, and it was a new way of in the mass retail market on how yarn was made into a cake instead of a skein. So anyway, so it comes to be, and Michaels sells out of their yarn in a matter of weeks. So usually they order enough yarn to take them through the whole season. And so Michaels blasted through their yarn in a matter of 3 weeks versus 3 months. And it ended up creating a huge shortage of yarn when it launched. And so anyway, so all these accusations of crocheters that think they know better decides to launch a complaint saying, well, they purposely shorted the yarn and created a demand on it. And I can honestly say that if they knew that the yarn was going to be that popular, they would have made it. So anyway, so the yarn is always made a long time before you guys ever see it. And so they had to stop production of their regular stuff and have those Karen Cakes remade. And then because it's imported in, it was then planed with a plane to be brought in to restock Michaels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So it's 15 steps. So anyway, it became such a big to do. So, but all these crocheters were saying, well, Michaels purposely did that. Honestly, if Michaels could get in your wallet, they will get into your wallet. So anyways, so it's kind of fictitious rumors that were never true. But then once people start thinking like that, then it becomes like the truth, and just a nightmare. So anyways, that's kind of the story of the Karen Cakes. So anyway, so then they decided to try Ogo, if you recall, and that did not meet the same excitement as Karen Cake's yarn wrapping was. Actually, I was really surprised that the consumers really didn't enjoy it. I thought it was kind of brilliant, but again, what do I know? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I was really sad that they discontinued so quickly, because it was actually less storage for those at home, but it just didn't work. Okay, so that was number 19 out of the gate. Okay, I'm gonna do a V-stitch. We're gonna do V-stitches now, so we're gonna head back over and get a V-stitch. A V-stitch 1 double crochet, chain 1 double crochet. I think I have that. I don't. Oh, there it is. I'll grab that guy. And the V-stitch happens on, you skip the first stitch. Okay. So let's create number 20. Week 3. And it's already blue, so that's good. Set it to the current layer. Okay, so there's double crochets on this one, and it is 2 and 2. Okay, so I need a blue one. And a blue one. So Journey members on our YouTube channel here will get the diagrams and everything included with their membership option. And then everybody else, I'm going to be charging for the diagrams because these are really hard on my hands and I got to go for therapy for the damn things. So I will, but the pattern will still be free with the written words. It's just 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It's really hard on the hands. It's my right hand is worse than the other one. 21, 2, 23, 24, 25 stitches. We'll grab some double crochet while we're over there. So you were on Wayfair and they had yarn. I haven't been on Wayfair in years. Somebody made a comment about one of my furniture pieces in the main living room. But it was actually, it looks like it's actually a footstool, but it looks like a spool of yarn. It was actually from Wayfair. So there's 23 steps. Did you get the baby keyboard programmed? I have the baby keyboard. I have not programmed it yet because I'm lazy. But I will be. I got some major tidying up to do. I got some donations to give away and stuff. That's number 20. Send it to the current layer. Yeah, so I gotta do some major cleaning up and stuff. My yarn, my table for when I film is an absolute disaster. What I find interesting is not as many people buy diagrams or like buy patterns. So people think, oh, they're making a fortune by selling patterns, but I've heard that's false, and I have learned that that's also false. So anyways, the money that we are collecting on Inspired by Grace is being used for that as well. And I thought I would feel bad about charging for it, but I really don't because it's being used for medical purposes. But here in Canada, our healthcare is worked in to our taxes, but therapy like that is not part of our. It's not part of our healthcare that's included with our taxes. I don't say it's free healthcare, but is no out-of-pocket cost for if you go see a doctor or ER or anything like that. So I think I might have carpal tunnel, but I have to see a specialist for that when the time comes. Okay, so we're gonna ungroup these guys. I only kind of know one person that really had a massive success for selling patterns, and it was the woman that did the shark blanket. Do you remember that? Where she had her boy, and her boy was sitting on the couch with, being swallowed by a shark blanket. That one, I heard that was huge, like for sales. But that's the only one I've ever heard of that's massive. We did a book, but honestly, that we ended up losing money on the book. So it's not something that I do twice, like making another book. I'd rather just do the patterns online. But you live and you learn. So I have no intention of ever doing another book. It was like a whole year's worth of work, and it just, when I can actually just do something like this and have it done within a month or so. But in the industry which I am in, unless you have a book, people don't treat you properly, which I think is horseshit. But because they say, well, you're not really truly like a designer because if you don't have a book, and I'm like, whatever. So okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I got 5 of these guys, 5 steps. So we're going to group and group. So Moon, her office is, or their office is worse than mine. Thank you for the left-handed, says April. No problem. Stop there. So how is Lauren today? Yeah, so I've heard that like VideoCon, where it's a YouTube convention where you have an invisible number over your head, and if you don't have a certain number, people don't talk to you. So in the yarn industry, it's very similar. If you don't have a book, then you're just basically a nobody. Anyway, so that was why I did a book, so I could feel like somebody. But then I learned my lesson. Even though you have a book, you're still a nobody. And it's funny when I think about it now. But so I did it to validate myself, which I was an idiot, because if I want validation, I just have to call the Long Island medium with their big hair and their long nails and get validated. They just want to validate. No, they don't. They just want to validate you're going to open up your checkbook. Am I sounding bitter? I might be. Okay, that was number 20. That was a V-stitch. I do watch, just for the fun of it, that little Henry kid, Tyler Henry Tyler, that little blonde boy that does second readings. I do actually watch a few of his stuff when I'm working by myself. I think I just watch it to see people cry. I actually had a psychic reading once. I will never do it again, ever. I found it just messed with it messed with my life to the point where I was misreading things, and I was looking for signs that weren't there. So I asked, am I going to stay in my job, because I was unhappy in my job? And they said, you're going to stay, but so-and-so has got to quit first. And so-and-so did actually quit. Shockingly, he walked out of the office one day, and I'm like, oh my God, he quit. That means I'm done. And anyway, so I'm like, but I wasn't ready to quit. And I'm like, oh shit. So anyway, so I'm not ready to quit. So this is before the crochet crowd got started, like, because I was still doing crochet crowd, but it was not, I was still working a full-time job. So anyway, so he quits, and I'm like, okay, was that my sign? But but it wasn't really my sign, because I wasn't ready to quit. So so anyway, so I stayed, and things got really complicated at this job, and the guy ends up coming back to work. So they asked him to return, and he did, like a few months later. And I'm like, well, shit, he's back. So, my psychic reading is all like messed up now. And so I'm like, well, I guess. But then what happened is that he had a big meltdown, worse than the first time. And anyway, stormtroopered out of the office, and that's it, done. And so when he left the second time, I was ready to go. Like, I had had enough as well. Actually, I don't even know if I should say it publicly, but what finished me in that job was actually the owner's son. The owner's son was just horrible. He was just coming out of teenage years. Gayness was a big freaking problem with him, and because I do have a lot of gay humor, it's really uncomfortable with him. So the main boss that I really admired pulled me into the office, and because his son was now working in the office, because he just asked me if I could just give the kid a break and go easier on the kid, because I was like, whatever. And anyway, so what was happening behind the scenes, and this is such gossip, is that he was trashing people that were like the foundation of what the company was. And I was really uncomfortable with that. So I called him out on it. And I said, all those people that you're trashing are what afforded your family, a decent living. And anyway, that landed like a hard balloon. And so anyway, so when the guy did a stormtroopered out, I was ready to go. I was done. And I don't like people being marginalized like that, especially if everybody's trying to make a living, including all the sub workers that are underneath different management positions. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the psychic reading that really messed me up, because I was not ready to go when the guy quit the first time, but he ends up coming back. But then I was ready to go the second time he stormtroopered out. But here's the funny thing of this whole story. So I quit, not realizing that the crochet industry is very much like retail. Like, so people don't crochet at certain seasons. And so I quit in April or May, somewhere around there. And anyway, I didn't realize that our company was going to fall to its knees, because I never realized that the craft industry is on a cycle of seasons. Anyway, so then I flipped out. So then I ended up being a flea market vendor for a summer. It sold absolutely nothing. And anyway, but I got up and set up my booth at 6 a.m. and froze my ass off. And I did that. And then after the end of that, because it was actually costing me money to go. And so anyway, I said, enough of this shit. So Daniel was working at a full-time job, and so was I. And I'm like, I think I'm seriously in trouble. So what I decided to do is that midway through the summer, I wasn't going every week. And I said, I'm just going to stay home and make as many tutorials as I possibly can, because eventually the fall will come around and crochet will pick back up, and that's exactly what I did. So it was a really tough summer. So anyway, I made these bracelets that I was charging $40 for. And it's funny in perspective. Let me just minus, so 27, 25, 23. So it's 23. I think it's 21 steps. So anyway, I was charging $40, but this guy beside me was importing these damn bracelets, not even similar to mine, for like, and selling them for like $5. And anyway, I was like, so anyway, people were offering $5 for my bracelets, and I'm like, oh, this is hell. You know, I think that's not what's happening. So anyway, so I'm like, this is hell, and it really was. Let me just back that back out. So anybody that can sell at a craft show, you have my respect, because it was hell. Yeah. But so I worked at the Creative Festival as one of their office people from home. And then I was also a vendor, and I realized if you don't sell shit on the first day, you better start discounting on the second, because you're going to walk home with that stuff at the end, unless you can't afford to. But I realized that sometimes you got to recognize in the middle of a show that you're in trouble, and that you got to start making some really tough decisions, whether you're going to hold or fold. And let me just group that together. So anyway, so sometimes on a Friday, you'd realize that you're not going to sell something, and so you start discounting it by lunchtime, because ultimately you just want to make sure you don't leave with nothing. But then you chalk it up that next time you go to that show, you don't ever bring that same stuff that's not moving. And the one show, there was major construction for a major highway, so people weren't showing up. So that was not fun either. Okay. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Okay, that was round number 20. Oh no, that's 21. That's number 21. 21, week 3. So has anybody ever done that where you sell at a show and you just like sit there and you're like, oh my God, what were you thinking? Because I have to say, I got really excited about the flea market. I'm like, I'm going to sell up everything. And then I sell absolutely nothing. And I can laugh about it now. It wasn't funny then. But I actually learned, so I was next to this, on the one flea market day, I was next to an East Indian guy that really taught me everything I needed to know about selling at a show. And he sold as much junk as anybody. And so he sold old phones and crap. And so he took me under his wing on the one morning, and he goes, I want to teach you how to sell at these shows. And he's right on. He was right on. And I'm like, okay, I'm all ears. And he says, you just need to talk to people. Don't ever just say, here, buy my stuff. Just talk and just welcome them to the show and the whole 9 yards. And it was exactly what it's exactly what it was needed. Okay. Okay, 22 week 4. So anyway, so he was quite inspirational. Now, did people buy his stuff? Yeah, he did, because he would talk them into it eventually, because they'll take a second stop at his booth and then they'll look. And it worked every time. Just, he knew what he was doing. Okay, I'm gonna come down. So there's a lot of repetition in this pattern, so people are not flipping out about it. Okay, there's 27 steps last time. 27, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Minus 2 is 29. 29 steps. So people are just watching an artist make their stuff. I love these diagrams. I think they're the coolest thing. People actually give me shit for making this stuff too, which I don't even understand, because we have an actual strong global presence. Italy, Turkey, Russia, Thailand, all of those countries over there, they don't even know how. They don't even need to know English to follow this stuff. And I think education should be relatively free to a certain degree, and you can't teach people if they don't speak your language, and this is universal. So I'm a huge believer in this stuff. Huge. So I think this week we had a guest on our podcast, which is brand new for us, if you're following along with that. And anyways, she's losing her vision, or she's lost a portion of her vision. And so anyway, so some of these crocheters just like, just shut up and crochet. And it's like, and there's people like this woman where they need that extra talking through the steps. And there's a difference from mansplaining and just talking about everything under the sun about what you're doing versus giving instruction. So I think people don't always comprehend that their situation may not be the same as other people's. So, and I was telling her, what was her name? Colleen. I was telling Colleen that, I met this woman that was completely blind, but she needed that extra explanation. But until I met that woman, I never really clued in on that. It just never clued in. Yeah. I keep thinking of a crochet block, a concept of a blanket. So, Lauren, are you going to design it? You going to be the designer? Anne Feist has a design for me as well. She talked about it in Reno, but I haven't seen anything yet. Which I'm not pushing her because I'm busy anyway. But it was something that she has in mind too. And my videos are not perfect every time. They're just homemade stuff. So one tough chick needs to see it. Yeah, that was my problem with that week number 4 with Inspired by Grace. People physically need to see it. They can't have it explained. But I'm kind of glad that people had that kind of negative commenting, because I was thinking about actually reading patterns, just hand picking a few patterns and actually reading them out loud, and so that people could actually that have trouble with the pattern, that they could just hear me talk it out, and I would add extra tips for it, but I realized that's not going to be possible. I think there's just going to be more people complaining about it, that they'd rather see it stitched than talked about, even though I would indicate that this is just a walkthrough video. But anyway, that fixed my clock real quick, because I just don't want to do anything that upsets people. Life is short. So 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 7 steps. So we'll group and group. 7 steps. So we'll do that. And there's also 7 steps of this. So you are not going to design Lauren. Oh, it's a sin. But you'd be good at it too. You can handle a bit of stress. It does get on my nerves when you design something. I wish you would have done it square or rectangle or in rows. Like, well, then you do it. You design. And then you have the public come after you for that. Let me know how it goes. It can really just ruin your day when people do that. Just, it's a sickness. Okay, that was number 22. So how many here actually do not even understand what they're looking at? So you're basically looking at the stitches without color. That's the way I look at it. It's the roadmap of where to go. Okay, we'll do number 23 is next and is the last one of the. So we started with double crochet here. Do you see it? And so we're going to end with double crochet so that these V stitches all become like encased inside of a frame. Well, I know, magic. 23, week 3. This is week 3. Okay, we'll grab some double crochet again. Such a giver. Oh my God. I don't know about that. Lauren, you're just too kind. One tough chick talk through might actually help me. I have a language processing issues when I'm trying to read things. Yeah, I do too. Like well, I tend to read too quickly. That's my problem. And I have, don't tell anybody, but I've never read a book in my adult life at all. I can't handle it. It stresses me out. But don't tell anybody. That's our little secret. Well, I did read my own book, but that's because I wrote it. But yeah. Okay, so there's going to be 29 steps. Blend 29. Is anybody watching the Traders US version based out of with Alan Cumming? That Bob the Drag Queen, oh my God, nasty piece of work. Actually, I thought Bob the Drag Queen was a lot more humble on RuPaul's Drag Race, but on that show, god damn, that guy's shit doesn't stink. Whew. So do I do audiobooks? No, I don't do any books. Karen does audiobooks. So I sometimes get into her car and there's some kind of smut playing. I'm like, okay then. My friend was telling me that she had her car in the garage and she had kind of a smutty little audiobook playing in the car. So he turned on the car to listen to the radio, but the book was already in motion. So he left on the book while he was fixing the car. And when he came to get her, at the end of it, he just said, "Here's your car keys back," and winked at her. I think he's suddenly into books now. Yeah. So Karen likes her audiobooks. Karen has ADHD like I do, so she can actually play an audiobook and do something at the same time just for breaking the noise. And so she's actually listened to a ton of books, like a ton. She actually is in our local Stitch or in our local supper group. I think both of them are. One of them is actually reading, and Karen's actually listening. But they'll still talk about it because it's the same thing. It's just somebody's reading it to you. Does anybody remember those books that you used to get as a kid? I remember Peter and the Wolf, and you had a little record, and it would make a chiming sound when you had to turn the page to match the book. And then one of the characters was a bassoon or an oboe or something. So each character was represented by a musical instrument. I had Pinocchio, the same thing. I don't know how many times I listened to it because I can still hear it in my head. So Pinocchio's all bad, and the little fairy comes to him and says and sings to him, Pinocchio is in trouble, and you're the one to blame. Mm-hmm. Yes, you were. Okay. Okay, so we had 31. So I think it's 29 steps. So Sharon has heard that as well. So I remember that as a kid. Wasn't it like K-Tel Records that did that? I think it might have been. Or Polytel or something. Okay. I think we had to listen to that in music class. I think it was kind of a focus on the instruments. And I don't remember what the Wolf's instrument was. We used to actually, I don't know if the Americans know this, but we used to have to listen to, or in social studies, we'd have to listen, watch episodes of Degrassi. It was filmed in Toronto. Um, and then it ends up becoming Degrassi High, and then eventually. But it's kind of funny looking back at those things. The kids were actually kids. They weren't like dolled up like little little adults. Okay, so I'm going to take him down here. So 24 is the end of week. Or sorry, it's 23. 23. It's like Goonies. I think what made Goonies special is that the kids actually look like kids and not little adults. I think that's kind of where TV has kind of lost its touch because you as a kid and you seeing all these kids, like you see for example, Melrose Place or not Melrose, Beverly Hills. I'm like, God, how did these people look so good in their high school years? Because I look like shit, and you realize that they're not even in high school; they're like mid to late 20s. My computer is automatically saving, but I will hit save anyway. That's a good idea. Very good idea. So this will be the end of this week in this pattern. So I need join with the slip stitch to the beginning, top of the beginning chain 4. We had to join this here. We had to join this here. We had to join with the slip stitch to the beginning, extended single crochet. This guy is gone. He gets replaced. So all of this is done at the end. That was my biggest mistake I did when I was learning this stuff. I was doing it at the beginning. Okay, so he is chain 3. He's out. He goes there. He's the wrong color. It's got to be blue. He slip stitches, so he's got to be blue. And he slip stitches to start. 21 is joined with a standing single crochet, so there's no chain there, but there is a finishing. Okay. 22 is out. Same as this guy. So somebody is an HS teacher. What is that? When I was in high school, high school teacher, we dressed for the day. Nowadays, Lordy, they wear sweats or PJs. So even though I work from home, I never work on I don't wear any nightwear, period, not even underwear. But I can't imagine not getting dressed for work. Just not in my DNA. I feel like if I don't dress up, then I'm going to turn into this lazy slob at home. So I've never adopted the idea, nor am I comfortable working in my robe with nothing on underneath it. I know, hot. You know, the courier driver could show up or whatever. Okay, so this is done. I'm going to move this out of the way because I'm going to save it for later. And this guy gets bigger. And presentation mode. We're going to put that into the document. So those on the Journey membership will be able to get this in like 2 seconds. I put the other diagram already in. And you don't have to you only have to make sure one side is visible. And it's always good to put the pieces in there that start and stop around. So somebody likes Goonies. Gordon likes the Goonies. Okay, let me just put that in the document. 17 to 23. So that's going in on page number 19 and 20. So Yarn Inspirations, they do exactly the same thing of that document that the Journey membership sees. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to, this stuff's garbage. I'm going to I don't want to get rid of it just in case it's got some ideas that I never did. And I am going to unlock the guides. Unlock guides and move my stuff. So I keep all of the weeks all in one document. I'll just leave it here. And then I'll put a piece of it back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do the rest of, I'm going to continue to work on week number 4 on the real sample, print out the final week, and then we'll start with that. So there was nothing in week 3 that was new, so I don't have to worry about the stitch. There will be in week 4 though, I know that, so we don't need to worry about this stuff here. We'll get that out of the way. So just looking. Front post, back post. Yeah, nothing new. Okay, that's it for today. And I am going to print out my pattern and I am going to work on that. Save my work. And that's it. So thank you for joining me this afternoon, and we hope that everybody's having a good week so far. Well, we'll have a good week ahead, and we'll continue to work on this. And that's it. Okay, have a good one, and we will see you again.